What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to GmiasWorld, and we're going to be going ahead and touching base on the Madden 21 Ultimate Team Builder Series. We're going to be jumping into Part 3, looking at the defense to kind of explain to you guys what is the plan day one, how we're going to start to build our defense. Now, remember guys, it's a transitional situation. We started off the year where we were more focused on finesse move. That immediately changed to power moves and all the other stuff towards the end of the year. Now, for whatever reason, after the beta for 20 was out, if you guys remember, Aaron Donald was an absolute animal. Even right now in regs, he's an absolute animal. You can't block him, but most people don't use the Rams because Jared Goff absolutely sucks. But that's not what this is about. What this is about is, what are we going to put together to make sure that the scheme for our defense is going to be ideal to win games early on? Because if you're not winning games early on, the game only gets more difficult. I want to let you guys understand that, and a lot of people rely on solo battles, but solo battles is a joke when it comes to getting trophies and upgrading your team. So head-to-head is where it's at, and that's why I promote you guys to learning certain things and going out there and dominating your opponents online, because that's where it matters, guys. When you get those trophies, you got a choice of coins, or you got a choice of, like, you know, whoever the that guy is for the season, the series master or whatever. They gave us some trash ones this year, but we got some good ones as well. But that actually makes you a lot of MUT coins if you're able to get that done super fast. So keep that in mind as well. All right, as we jump into the defensive side of the ball, right? Remember, are they going to be team captains? I don't know. Has it been announced? Will they bring back Ryan Shazier? I don't know what's going on. But he was actually a card that was pretty decent throughout the entirety of the year because he started off relatively fast. And they gave you the opportunity to get him to a certain level where he was suitable to start. So team captains are going to be a huge part. Keep in mind, if they do something like this with Shazier, where he will not be released as any other version in the game, we may have to go after his card. Because if other cards are announced that they'll be released as legends, let's just get those as legends. Because I made the mistake of getting Herman Moore early, and that guy sucked. And then I had to wait for them to do an exchange set, and then we finally got Shazier. So that cost me a little bit. But they had already told us earlier that there would be no other card version of Shazier. So common sense for me, I should have just went with Shazier because he would be probably the card that nobody else would be able to get outside of going team captain. You know what I'm saying? And then you see where he's at now at the end of the year. So it was worth it. 98 speed, 98 excel. So he's able to make plays that other players cannot make. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the other things that will make your defense a lot better, pretty much, to the way that you need it to be to make sure that you're out there dominating your opponents, all right? That's just something that I wanted to point out because I need you guys to make sure that that's an understanding that everybody absolutely, gets through their head. If I would have done this early, I would have not, I wouldn't have had to wait for that set, and EA kind of dragged their feet with it, and then we had to wait a little bit to get it. So just be careful with that. If they do that again, and there's any card that generally, you need to get because there's going to be no other version, we're going to go with that card. Unless the card is just straight garbage, and we know that the card sucks, there'll be absolutely no reason to actually go after that card. All right, so that's the first part. Now, as far as D-line, right? A lot of you guys are like, yo, Gmia, every year you change. You go from 3-4, you were at 4-3 in Madden 17. You had those crazy blitzes. Yes, I understand that. But guess what happens, right? You have to do what's best suited for the year of the game, okay? Please understand that when you go out there, certain players do not play the same in a 4-3 than they do in the 3-4, all right? It's going to be completely different. For instance, if you put Warren Sapp in a 4-3 and he's off the, he's off the center and like more on a guard with the, with the 4-3, he's not going to be as impactful, especially in this year, than, if you run 3-4 or you run like dime 1-4-6 and have just that 1D tackle that's screaming down the middle. That is a very, very huge factor with everything that goes on in the game. So you need to understand that. That is very, very important that whichever scheme you decide to run, you got to know that your players fit that deal. Now, as far as the end guys, okay, Myles Garrett and Klecko would actually be really, really good off the end because no matter what happens, they have the power moves, they have, they're strong, all that good stuff, right? So they're going to be good no matter what. So whether you're 4-3 or 3-4, it doesn't matter with certain skill positions because the strength factor is more than likely at the launch gonna mean something. I'm not guaranteeing you that after the patch, it's gonna be the same thing. We all saw what happened when they patched the game. Linval Joseph just became an idiot. Before the patch, Linval Joseph could not be moved by anybody. In the beginning of this year of Madden 20, they patched it. His strength meant nothing. They were throwing him around like like he was SpongeBob. Like, it was really, really bad. So we have to make sure, again, as they change stuff, we have to also change. It is very important that you guys understand that. Do not stay with things that are not working just because you want to show everybody like, yo, this is what it is. It's not. And it's not going to work out well for you if you continue to do that. So we have to be smart about that. All right? So with all of that being said, we now have to generate the right type of defense. So where are we going to go? How, pass rush, run stuff. What's going to be happening? Are they going to change up some of the stuff? Well, let me tell you this, right? Depending on how the players move with those little bars, they're going to have bars to let you guys know, like, oh, yeah, this guy has this many times that he can win and all that stuff. Plus, the O-line is going to have memory to kind of know if you've been running the same blitz, how to do it. So you guys are going to have to get smart with your blitzes and your angles. And that's actually a very, very good idea from EA Sports. My situation is, how are they going to make sure that it actually works? Because guys like me that likes to send a whole team, the custodians that work at the stadium, and my GM, it doesn't really matter how smart the O-lineman is. If you send a lot of people, they can't block a lot of people. So this is more or less about a guy that, you'll play in weekend league that runs cover 4 drop and sends no one and sacks you instantly. That'll be better for them. It'll be better suited for that type of team. But as far as what we do, we send pressure. Okay, so sending pressure is going to be a whole different animal. Balanced defense, I never really liked it because even though they're balanced, they never really get a lot of one thing that you actually want them to get. Run stuff, if they have this again and it affects hit power, and hit power is essential to getting fumbles, we may take a look at it. Remember, your D-line and certain linebackers will have it, but your skilled secondary cornerback safeties, some of your middle linebackers are going to have some of the secondary stuff as well, like lockdown to get that zone, that man coverage up. So this is another thing where it's a two-part. The same way I explained to you offensively that it's going to be an offensive line scheme chem, and then you're going to have your wide receivers, quarterback, tight ends, they're going to have a different chem. Similar thing with the defense. It's very, very rare that you'll play somebody that runs balanced defense unless for some reason there's a benefit for it, like, +1 speed or some kind of weird stuff. Like, nobody's going to really run it like that because like I said, it just doesn't give you enough of the one thing. You have to cater to one part of what you want your player to do, and that's what you have to stay with. And I really, really, I urge you guys to understand that that's very important. So more than likely, if they change up the scheme chems and, run stuff changes or pass rush changes, we'll see what works. But lockdown or something of that nature that gives us the man coverage and the zone coverage is going to be extremely essential, especially with the way that we can control the way that our players drop back now in zone. You see what I'm saying? All those guys that are running corner routes, now we can set our players to drop back 30 yards so that we don't get beat on that run. But guess what? If you drop them back 30 yards, guess what a real good player is going to do? They're going to throw something underneath that, probably, got stick skills and take it to the house on you. So those are just some things you got to understand. Yes, we'll be able to take away the corner route, but if you get guys that are more agile and stuff like that underneath, they may be able to still go for 6. You guys have to keep that in mind. That is very, very important that you guys make sure you understand that. I love the fact that we're going to be able to take away corner routes, but what's going to happen underneath? So we're going to need that zone coverage. So lockdown is always, that's like automatic, dude. Like, if you go back to any of my videos when I'm team building, you'll see lockdown is automatic because you got to make sure, even when the zones don't work, like right now, if you leave a dude in a cloud flat and you pass command, do all that stuff, the guy will still roll outside the pocket and throw a corner route, and the guy will just stand there and watch it happen. I don't know why that is, but it doesn't matter, okay? We're going to figure it out early in the year, what we need to do, and we're going to get it done. But I will let you guys understand this. Zone coverage is very important. Man coverage just comes with it, obviously, because it's lockdown, but that's a very, very important aspect of the game, and we're going to need to make sure that we're doing that, okay? That's something that's going to have to absolutely 100% be paid attention to. Now, if anything else comes out of it where it changes, we have to take a look at that. I also want to point out, I didn't go over this in part 2 as far as the physical chems, but Brawler and Sprinter, we got to see if they do any updates to that. as far as the minuses and stuff like that, and we got to go back to making sure that we understand that our stronger players in certain positions are going to go brawler, and our more skilled positions are going to go sprinter. All right, if you need me to go in depth on why that is, I will definitely 100% do that, but you guys need to understand the way that your players move, the way that they react, it can vary, because the way that EA does this game when they tune it, they have not been able to keep the game in its natural state and just fix one thing. Other things have always been affected. Maybe this will be the year when it goes to PS5 and the new Xbox that they'll be able to adjust it, because it'll be on a whole nother system and it'll be like a fresh start. Maybe that'll be the case, but I don't know what happened in this gen after Madden 16 with that patch because of Brashad Perriman. All of us know what was happening with Brashad Perriman, and that patch pretty much ruined the Madden experience for a lot of people, because it made it so that the players were no longer able to get separation, and the game just became a little bit more, you know, it just wasn't what it was supposed to be. Because Madden 16 at launch was actually a really good game, in my opinion. It turned into something else after the patch, which is why I tried to let you guys understand we are going to continue to evolve. We are not going to keep the same things. If we come out, right, let me just explain something to you guys. If we come out in the game and we build our D-line, like, all right, look, say we go pass rush like we have right now, and dudes come out and they start acting like idiots 1 week from launch, guess what we're doing? We're changing those chems. We're not going to worry about it, because listen, it is what it is. EA is going to do what they're going to do, and the game is going to change. But remember, like I said, it's very, very important that the early months you get all the trophies that you possibly can, because that's what's going to get you a ridiculous amount of coins, those series masters. So you're going to have to be grinding head to head and getting that stuff and selling those cards off, and that's one of the ways that you can do it. Now, will they change that? It's a possibility. But EA always gives a benefit of winning a lot of head-to-head games over a certain amount of time. So we have to watch that. In the addition of MUT Master, whoever that will be, you'll have that opportunity to go ahead and get these things done. So that's pretty much what the core is going to be. Our secondary skilled, whatever positions you want to call them, these guys will have lockdown or whatever contributes to zone coverage. The inside guys, finesse move, power moves, all that good stuff, whichever one works out more, that's what we'll do. It is not smart to go with to try to separate it too much and give your D tackles like power move and all that stuff, and then give the outside guys finesse. Give all your D linemen the same thing. Okay, some of your middle linebackers are going to have it also to make sure you get everything you need, but give your D linemen the same thing and let them work as a unit. That's very, very important as well. Okay, now everything else that comes with it, the safety, because if you guys played the beta, let me know how many of you guys played the beta in the comment section. You guys were complaining about the linebackers feeling like they had a bunch of apples in their butt cheeks and they were way down. We're probably going to have another year where we use the safety position, because the safeties move very, very good in my opinion. So we'll take a look at that and figure that out as we go along as well. So I wouldn't really worry about that too much until we see exactly what the final build of the game is going to be. All right, so we're going to take a look at some of the stuff that's going to go on. Keep in mind that Journey, Gauntlet, whatever they give us to give us free players, if those players can contribute, in addition to our rookie premieres, we're going to implement them in there. Okay, so at launch, there will be stuff for my no money spent players, as well as the guys that buy bundles and things of that nature, or you buy packs. Just keep that in mind. Everything will be covered. The players it'll be different though, with the way that the players play, because obviously some players are going to be very, very hard to get and expensive. It's the beginning of MUT. It's going to happen. But I'm going to give you the best secondary and third players that you can use in those positions to help you win more games at launch. All right? So right now, we're not going to focus on strength, finesse move, power moves. We're not focusing on anything. What we're focusing on is the specific scheme that we're going to use, and more than likely, it's going to depend on the way that the game is released. And then we'll go ahead and go from there. But I already have a whole blueprint of how we're going to do it. Once we get more information about, the actual scheme chems and all that stuff that's going to be available, we'll go over all this stuff with the team chemistries and everything, and then we'll figure out, theme teams, physical chem, scheme chem. We'll figure all of that out once it happens. But just keep in mind, your D-line, some of your middle linebackers, your middle line, maybe like 2 of your middle linebackers, and then your outside linebackers are going to have the same chem. Everybody else on the outside will have the lockdown or whatever corresponds to zone. No, you will not be able to get it maxed out immediately for those of you psychos, unless you spend a lot of money. They may give you the option to be able to do that. by getting players that can get times, 3, 4 early. But more than likely it won't happen, but we'll be able to get at least the +1 zone to start off. Just keep that in mind. As we team build, it's 2 separate for both sides of the ball. Offense has already been explained in the video prior, and then we just went over defense. All right? Next video, we're gonna jump into a little bit more technical parts of team building as far as like, the special teams, the specialists, the team strategy. Should you go with, John Madden coach at launch versus building up a team based on that whole team chemistry with theme teams? I'm gonna let you guys know the benefits of all that stuff very, very soon. I want to thank you guys and girls for watching. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the series. This is what you guys wanted to talk about, and I'm here for you. Drop a line, let me know what else you want me to go over in future videos, and I'm going to see you guys and girls next time. Continue to be safe. One love, y'all.